Well, hi everybody. My name is Tony Grillo. Welcome to my channel, Wisconsin Hugs. And I am in today, Richland, Wisconsin, which is just a little bit like north and to the west of Milwaukee, Menominee Falls area. I'm at a quick trip truck stop. You can see right behind me. It's a fairly good sized truck stop. It's relatively brand new. And it's over not too far, about 7-8 miles from Holy Hill Catholic Church, which is a beautiful church. Sits on this majestic hill, beautiful church, and then they got an outlook tower. And the scenery is gorgeous. They got woods out there, and I almost thought about taking DJ for a hike out there, but I'd have to drop the trailer. Sure, what these guys have a policy here on whether or not they allow you to drop trailers, and then I could drive my truck out there. You don't want to come back and find that your trailer's been towed. But it's just a gorgeous night. I'm on a drive. I was in South Dakota. I had a load of welding wire I had to deliver to Huron and then Sioux Falls. And then I had a load of cheese to pick up in Sioux Falls, but my appointment time was 6 o'clock at night, and I got there around, I think it was noon, 1 o'clock for my. So I was 5 hours early for my pickup appointments. So I wound up camping out. I sat there for 5 hours. They didn't get me in, and they ate till almost 6 o'clock, and then it took them an hour and a half to load me. By that time, I had 3 hours, and I'd have my 10 hours in, and then I could hit the road. So that's what I did. I hit the road last night. About 11 o'clock at night, I took off from Sioux Falls. And it was kind of nice driving at night. There was hardly anybody on the road on Highway 90. There's a lot of traffic at Sioux Falls. A lot of you South Dakota people, you're up at all hours. There was quite a bit of traffic. But then once you got out of Sioux Falls and you were on Interstate 90 in Minnesota, there was hardly anybody there. I was driving with brights on, and I saw one deer. That was it. So thank goodness. That's one thing you worry about is but I got a deer catcher on my truck. But still, you don't want to hit a deer. So, anyways, I will talk today. I did finish Star Trek Picard season 2 and 3, and I absolutely loved it. And I will talk some about that. My thoughts on Picard. Absolutely, I thought it was great. Absolutely fantastic show, especially season 3. Season 3 had some really kick-ass moments, and I especially loved the final episode, the ending. And if they wanted to end Picard on that note, it would have been an awesome way to end it. But apparently, they're going to a season 4, so I don't even know how they're going to be able to top what they did in season 3. But it was awesome seeing everybody back, all the characters back, and what a way to finish it. And I'm going to talk about that when I get back in my truck. But right now, I'll take this guy. He wants to go for his walk, right, DJ? Yeah, he's such a good boy. Yes, he is. You're such a good boy, aren't you, buddy? Yes, you are. You're such a good boy. Yeah. So I'm going to take him for his walk. All right. All right, so I'm sitting here at the Quick Trip, little tables they have here. So, thoughts on Star Trek, Picard. The first season, we had that whole thing going on with the synthetics, and the outlawing of the synths, and then we found out it was the Romulans that were the villains in this one. specifically a group called the Tal Shir, and they were, but they were believing themselves to be heroes in their own minds, fighting, trying to destroy the destroyer. They were doing everything in their power to defeat an apocalypse that was coming, and Picard managed to stop the whole thing by basically being a diplomat. He was able to convince Data's daughter to not to give humans a chance, give humanity a chance, and that message seems to move on to season 2. Now, season 2, they brought in Q, and I think they realized they kind of needed their own, like, Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home type movement, where they need to lighten it up a little bit. And they did a thing where Star Trek 4 got mentioned quite a bit. They copied Kirk and Spock going around the sun and doing a time traveling back to kind of the same era that Kirk and Spock were at the same time. Kind of that same era, same place, San Francisco. They even run into a guy playing the same music on the boombox, where the song goes da 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 da, screw you. But in the Kirk and Spock version, when they're on that public bus and the guy's playing his boombox and that song, he flips them the bird when Kirk asks him if he could shut the noise. And then in this version, 7 of 9 is on a public bus and asks a guy very similar looking. He has the same pointy hairstyle back in that day that was really popular, that mohawk, pointy hair. I think his was pink though. And the other guy, I thought his was blue. So kind of a difference of the two worlds. But played the same song, and that guy said, okay, yeah, sure, it's just a good song, I'm sorry, I didn't want to offend anybody. But so they had to go back in time, and they got help from Q, and we weren't sure what was going on. Like, Q was losing his powers, but yet Q was trying to meddle in Picard's own timeline. Apparently things happen with, like, Picard's great-great-great-grandma. She's an astronaut, and it seems like Q doesn't want her to go on this very important mission to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, and it is there that apparently she discovers an organism living on that planet that will help clean our planet and save Earth. And so that is very crucial timeline that she has to do that mission. Also, what is crucial is the Borg are involved, because they took the Borg Queen from a very tyrannical future Earth, which was very similar to the mirror universe, where you had all the evil doppelgangers. It's flip-flop. The Starfleet's evil in that universe, the mirror universe. Well, in this alternate future timeline that got screwed up, and that Picard has to correct, Earth is tyrannical and they're evil, and Starfleet's evil, and they're merciless. They basically destroyed all their enemies, and I think they even had a slogan that the only good universe is an all-Tehran universe. So that shows their motto. They're trying to wipe out everybody that's an alien, and so Kirk and Spock, not Spock, Picard and his crew are trying to stop that timeline in season 2 from happening, and so you got Agnes there, who's the doctor. Her and the Borg Queen wind up merging together, and they create a new queen, and she's telling the queen, how come you never thought about, instead of just forcing people to assimilate, why didn't you just ask them if they want to become a Borg? Why didn't you just want to make a better Borg? Instead of forcing people to, you could actually help people. You could actually be loved in the universe by helping people. And so she thought about it, and they merged together and they formed a new queen. And at the end of season 2, we find out that uh, uh, the Borg show up, and Picard and everybody. There's this vortex that opens up. Again, another vortex. It's interesting. They used a vortex in season 1 for the destroyer to pop out, and they had to close that vortex. So now you got another vortex showing up, or a nebula, or I don't know what it was, but they had another one that opened up, and a Borg cube shows up, and they think that it's the Borg is there to try to assimilate everybody, and that's when Picard issued the self-destruct and blows everybody up. But Q steps in the last second and saves everybody, shows them the alternate timeline that came from that moment that Picard destroyed himself, a future timeline. And it's really weird because the future timeline, Picard is alive, but he had killed himself. Anyway, I don't know how that all works out. But anyhow, Picard has to, he stops it, and he realizes that the Borg Queen, when she boarded their ship, she wasn't trying to take over the ship. She was trying to calibrate all the ships so that they would create a shield with a certain frequency, and that all of them united with the Borg Queen's ship and all the Starfleet ships that are there. If they all put out this shield at this certain frequency, they would be able to stop the explosion of this vortex or nebula or whatever. I think it's a nebula that's about ready to blow up. And even Q said, right at the last moment, he and Picard actually hug each other, and he's like, this is the end of the line. I'm ready to move on to my next adventure. I'm going to die. And so they give each other a hug, and Picard thanks Q again for helping him, save humanity, save Starfleet, save future. And so, they go back, and then they realize that the Queen is actually trying to help them. And then they are able to use the shields, and they were able to contain the explosion so that millions of people didn't die, because there was a solar system there with a bunch of planets, and that nebula blowing up would wipe them all out. They were able to stop that from happening. And then they apparently Agnes is the Queen. She had her face covered by a black mask. We didn't know it was Agnes, but Agnes pops back up, and now it's Agnes that has been with the Q for a long time, because Picard got returned back to his own timeline. That was the final thing that Q did, was he brought him back to the right timeline so that Picard could solve the mystery that Q wanted him to solve. And then apparently they're friends. The Borg is a different kind of Borg. They're a nice Borg. And they ask for permission to become part of the Federation. They want to be an envoy, and they want to be guardians of the gate, because after the nebula blew up, this vortex opened up, and it was some kind of trans-warp conduit, and they had no idea who was on the other end or who was coming. Maybe it was the destroyer. I don't know. But anyways, and that's how season 2 ended. It ended with Jerry Ryan. Picard said, "Here, you get the helm. You take the con," and she's flying the ship out of there, and that's how the whole thing ended, season 2. And then we go into season 3, and I thought season 2 was excellent. Really nice, really fun. I love the time traveling. Rios has a nice farewell. He meets a lady Latino doctor, and they fall in love, and he decides he wants to be with her, and he doesn't want to return to his timeline. He said, I always felt like this wasn't my proper timeline. I never really liked being here. And so he stays with the lady doctor, and apparently they help Picard's great-great-grandma, whatever, find a cure to save the planet. Rio and his lady doctor that he fell in love with, and apparently Picard's, they all teamed up in the past timeline, which it was pretty neat how the writers did that. I love that when the writers circle back in the stories, you know, and bring these characters together. And I love the humor. I love the references to Kirk and his, you know, his journey and everything. I love that. I think that's awesome. So now we get to season 3, and season 3 basically, I'm trying to remember how it opens up here. I might have to stop this for a second, think about how I want to tell season 3.